Hey, good afternoon/evening to everybody out there. We're so glad to have you to something new tonight. We're doing a Faith at Home/Fall Rollout webinar, and we're glad to have you, whether you're here with us live or whether you're joining us later in the week or maybe picking this up on podcast. As we continue to face unknown circumstances and things in our world continue to change week to week, month to month, we are trying to, as a church, to do the best we can to be prepared for every kind of contingency, for everything that's out there, so that we can stay true to the task and the vision and the mission that God has given us. And so that's what this webinar is about tonight, and we're so glad to have you. We've been saying this now for several months, and I want to reiterate it, but as a church family, while so many things have been put on hold, we strongly believe that God is not on hold. And because of that, it's been our mission, and we've messed up and made so many mistakes with this, but it's been our purpose and our mission to continue to grab opportunity from obstacle. And so what you're going to hear tonight is going to be two parts. We're going to deal a little bit with just some vision, some equipping of everybody that hears this. We're going to deal with what it looks like for us to continue to be a church that's ready to pass on and continue to take faith to the next generation and show them what it looks like and have them invited to walk with Jesus with us. And that includes everybody in our church, not just parents. But we're also tonight going to spend a little time just telling you about how we're going to roll out things in the fall. So we're going to do this in two parts. But I do want to just share this with you first. And Barry and Lori are going to share some of these things here in a moment. But first of all, we know who we are. Because there's these amazing passages in Scripture, like Deuteronomy 6, the Shema, that tells us who we're supposed to be to pass on generational faith. And as we talk about that tonight, I just want you to remember that we're all in this, all of us together. When the Bible talks about faith and who passes it on and who shares with the next generation, it very rarely ever mentions parents. What it mentions is community. And so if you're a grandparent and you're going, well, this isn't for me, or if you're a parent that just is empty nest, and you're going, this isn't for me, this is for young kids, or if you're a young family or a single person saying, well, this isn't for me because my kids aren't at that age or stage, or my kids aren't there yet, or I don't even have kids yet. That's not true. This is about us together. Capturing the vision that what works best for us is when we bring the church and the family together into one. And those two combined influences make all the difference. So to remind you of that tonight, we're going to just start with a video. And then after the video, you'll magically see Barry and Lori appear on this couch. And once they're up here on this couch, they're going to walk you through some vision for our children and youth and for how we can all be involved in building faith at home. So glad to have you on this webinar. And we're going to show you this video now. And we hope that this little time, 30 minutes or 35 minutes we have together tonight, is a blessing to you. Again, thank you for being here.
thank you for welcoming us into in the palm of your hand if you're watching your smart device or on your computer screen or maybe even your TV, your smart TV. We are grateful to be with you tonight, Lori and I. And we just, man, thank you for tuning in. Whatever time of the day you're tuning in, maybe in the weeks to come, thank you for being with us and listening to what God has put on our hearts as a staff and as a team, really wanting to partner with you. And we'll talk about that here as we go tonight. So jump in.
All right. Well, like Barry said, thanks for being here. Thanks for listening, watching, whatever you're doing. We're just glad that you're here and that you're willing to take time out of your busy schedules to partner with us. That's pretty much what this is about. We want to partner with parents. Barry and I can only do so much, and we want to cast vision and empower you. As the video said, we believe that parents in churches have the greatest impact when we work together. And we are here to tell you that you can do this, that this is not hard, that anybody can do this, and we're going to walk you through a few easy ways to baby step your way into building faith at home. In Proverbs 22:6, it says, point your kids in the right direction, and when they're old, they won't be lost.
And you heard Jake say it moments ago, you hear Lori saying it now, but biblical direction, being found in the faith, is something that's always been a concern of God's, and He's wanting you to encourage the next generation. It's never about sitting on your laurels and just being where you're at. It's always about influencing faith, and God's given us all that spirit. He's given us all that mission. We've been invited. That's the life of following Jesus. And so you're familiar with the passage in Deuteronomy 6, but I just want to read it again in whole as we set up our evening tonight. But it says, and this is out of the Message as well, it says, attention Israel. God, our God is the one and only. Love God, your God, with all your heart, your whole heart. Love Him with all that's in you. Love Him with all that you have. Write these commandments that I've given you today on your hearts. Get them inside of you, and then get them inside of your children. Talk about them wherever you are. Whether you're sitting at home or where you're walking the street, talk about them from the time that you get up in the morning to the time that you go to bed at night. Tie them on your hands and on your foreheads as a reminder. Inscribe them on the doorpost of your home and on your city gates. Listen, we know, man, since March and spring broke, that you have been incredibly busy. We know the task of being a full-time employee or boss or any of those things, it got paired with being a full-time Bible class teacher and full-time teacher. And so we know that you've been incredibly busy and worn out these last, half of a year now. And so, we want to speak to that tonight. We know it's been difficult, and we know that it's been tough maybe to leave. Say you get a free moment on a Sunday morning to jump into a Bible class with your child or with your teenagers or both. And so we just wanted to remind you tonight, not that it's easy, but it is simple. And we want to just give you the tools. We want you to feel equipped. We want you to feel that you can navigate things and be able to walk through class. And how simple doing that can be. How simple it can be to have faith at home, to build faith at home. And we have been trying, I think that's become our primary job the last few months, if that's what you can call it, but trying to get resources out to help you feel equipped, help you feel ready, help you even feel empowered so that you can facilitate, so that you can help kids build faith at home.
So let's talk about some really practical, easy ways to start baby stepping your way into this. This does not have to be a 20-minute sermon that you give to your 4-year-old, because I got a 4-year-old and he won't sit still. So we're just going to talk about some really quick and easy ways. And parents, remember, the number one thing in building faith at home is consistency. Mm-hmm. So you could say a prayer before bedtime.
Yep. You could just talk about what the teenager or the child learned in class, in Bible class today.
As you're dropping kids off in the morning, pray over their day.
Something that we love to do on mission trips, camps, maybe even just time around at church. Where have you seen? Just discuss where, all of your whole family discuss where you've seen God today.
It could be as easy as learning and talking about a Bible verse at the dinner table.
You could come to Encounter LE with us this November. That's an idea.
Sing a Bible song while your kids are in the bathtub.
Before your kid heads off to school, or maybe when they're about to go to sleep that night, why don't you, or you could, pray with them, pray over them, pray over the things that are really weighing on their heart.
Right. Lastly, for me, read a Bible story at bedtime.
And something that we kind of dream of is, what would it look like if you and your teenager just thought about kids at school that they don't always get the attention. Maybe they're even picked on a little bit. Maybe they're forgotten at times. What would it look like for your child to say, hey, I noticed them. I want to take them to lunch. I want to do things that will help encourage. Maybe a little note in a locker, and just talking and discussing, hey, who's somebody that we could share faith with? Who's somebody that we could bring to Bible class at church?
So if you're like, okay, great ideas, but I need more, did you know there's an app for that? If you didn't, I'm going to tell you about it now. It's called the Parent Queue. It looks just like that. So whenever you go to the App Store or Google Play, you can just type in Parent Queue, and that's what will come up. And once you get it downloaded, I'm going to walk up to the screen. It looks like that PC right there. If you click on it, it's going to ask you to register. I've already done it. Here's my little guy. Hey, Hud. It says I only have 710 weeks with him until he moves on. And that's kind of depressing to think about. And I want to make sure that when he does move on, that he has a solid foundation in Jesus Christ. Mm-hmm. So here's the video that they're going to watch every Sunday morning or Wednesday night or whenever we can fit this in. There's a video. You can just watch it with them. There's our Bible verse for the week. Remember this? I am fearfully and wonderfully made. That's our Bible verse. That's it. With a 4-year-old, that's about the attention span you're going to get anyways. There's also activities at cuddle time at night when you're cuddling your kid before bed. There's things to say, prayers to pray. There's even something called It's Just a Faith. It's just a phase. Have you ever thought about something your 4-year-old has done and looked at your husband and go, oh, I don't know if this is normal? Well, It's Just a Phase has been so helpful in helping you realize that my kid is normal. 4-year-olds are crazy.
Well, I'm just thinking about the app. It's not just for children. There's links, there's ideas for preteens, for teenagers as well. It doesn't really have the same cuddle time. You don't have to worry about. You can. We're not. If you need cuddle time, that's fine. But this is separate and apart from. It's not apart, but it's separate than the Parent Queue app is our Canadian Church of Christ app. We want to communicate to you that there's several resources that we weekly update and put on there, say for Sunday morning. And I know that trying to get Bible class in before worship at Jones may be difficult, or maybe worship back at the building, depending on when we get to do that. So what we've done, Lori's done such a wonderful job, but on our Canadian Church of Christ app, which is also on Google Play and on the iTunes Store, can I do anything to you, I guess? It looks just like that. It's got our logo that Jake designed incredibly. And what you need to do for that is you just got to click on it. And right there, it'll show you your kids' Bible classes. Now, it doesn't always do that. Down here, there's a thing called events. And if you click on that, we have age-appropriate classes for every age of child. And I'll just show you one here. If you have a preschooler, you're like, well, there's my video. If you will hit preschool, it takes you right in to the video, even though it's telling me try again. It will when it's working correctly. But it'll take you into Parent Queue, discussion questions, things like that, and y'all can walk through that together. That goes, let's say you have a high schooler. Like, well, I don't know about cuddle time. But here we are in high school. It's got an idea of here's what we're talking about today, or been talking about in that series. All you do is, you just click that and you'll be on the video. Y'all can watch the video on your smart TV or device. And you're like, well, then what do I talk about? Well, we've got discussion questions that'll pop up. And if you give it 2 or 3 minutes before y'all get together, 15 or 20, just look over it that morning before the kids get up, or during the week before you're ready, and just look through some of these questions and have an idea of what you want to talk about. Super, super simple. And then, not only that, there's devotionals for daily. Y'all could walk through Devos each day. It's down there. And then even the parent queue, which is additional ideas. Maybe it's write a note and put it in their locker, or put it in their car, or text them at a certain time, hey, I'm praying about this for you. It's just intentional, what was that word? Consistent ways to keep, there's your face again here, to keep encouraging your child and in their faith and walking in faith together, which is what we believe all of Scripture kind of points us towards, to being that kind of people who do that as well.
So that was kind of part one of, hey, here's some resources and here's some easy ways to start building faith with your little ones all the way up through teens. Jake is going to come on and we're going to roll out our fall plans, and we're super excited and we can't wait to show them and tell you about them.
That was, as Lori just said, that was part one. And I hope you heard the passion that our children's minister and our youth minister have for building faith at home. You know, perhaps it's true that during all this time of isolation and shutdown and even quarantine for some of us and not being able to gather in large gatherings, I don't believe God sent COVID for this, but perhaps it's true that God, during this time, is refining the church to do what we've always supposed to do, to make sure that Christianity and our walk with Jesus goes well beyond a Sunday morning. When we combine these two influences that we're talking about, when you start to get plugged into what they were just showing you on our app, and you start just doing a half hour with your kids, either on a Sunday morning or a Sunday evening, or when you can, to spend that time, those influences will last forever. And you may be like, I don't know how to teach a Bible class. Well, I hope you heard that great advice. Start somewhere. All of us can do something. You pray, don't you? Pray out loud. I mean, it's that easy. You read the Bible, read it out loud. And this goes again. This isn't just for parents. This is for all of us. So part two of this little webinar we're doing as we're transitioning to it is really to tell you our fall rollout plans. We don't know how long these will go, but we're going to be ready to meet whatever needs in front of us. And I really believe that the stuff that Lori and Barry came up with that they're going to share with you here in a minute is home run type material for our Wednesday nights. It's unbelievably good stuff. And if we will get behind it, you're going to see that influence take hold, because we're going to be more involved and own our youth ministries and own our children's ministries more than we ever have. And that's what we're being called to do right now. I strongly believe that. Even as a preacher, I've been called more into passing on and helping develop the faith of my two boys than maybe I've ever done during this time, and I think that's important. So, little fall rollout stuff. This fall, we are going to push into being better at sharing faith across generations. And I want to tell you just about one area or two. One is with our life groups. We're launching our life groups, our small groups that we call life groups, on September 13th. And so one of the things we're going to do with that is we're going to try to blend our children's Bible class time that's on the Canadian Church of Christ app into our life groups. What a better opportunity if you've got life groups with small children, 5th grade, 6th grade, and down. What we can do during that time is, during the life group, pick a couple. And Lori will talk about probably signing that up and assigning that each week. And a couple can take those children that are in your group and do the Bible class with them. The reason we think that's maximizing our influence there is that we know Sunday mornings, if you're trying to get to Jones at 10 a.m., and then we're also saying, well, you better teach Bible class before you show up, that's almost an impossibility if you have small children. So why not combine that with our life groups? And when our adults are talking, there's also time for our children to be learning the Bible together and having that experience, whether it's at a tailgate or in somebody's backyard or at a park or wherever we're at. And then for our teens, we want those teen classes to keep going too. And sometimes maybe it'll be good for all the life group to just say, you know what, we got a bunch of teens in this group, and today we're going to pause from Jake's little outline he gave us and that goes along with his message, and we're just going to do the teen class together. But really what we also want to lean into is having our teens be part of life group more than they ever have. Leading it, sharing, praying. And some of you guys have already been so good at that, but we want to lean heavy on that because those life groups can be a beautiful place where growth happens and things change. We're also going to be rolling out Rooted again this fall, and we've got space up here to have 3 Rooted groups. So if you're interested in Rooted, and this is what it is. Rooted is a 10-week discipleship pathway that you have to commit to. Got to pay $25 a person to be part of, and you need to commit to being up here September 9th through November 11th. That's our 10 weeks for Rooted. And if you'd like to be part of that, you can sign up on our app. But Rooted is an incredible experience. If you need to know more about Rooted, just talk to somebody that's done it. Or if you need to know more, please call me at the office. But we're going to continue our adult education, getting in the Bible. We're going to be doing that in so many different places. But right now, I just want to hand it back over to Barry and Lori, and they're going to tell you a little bit more about their fall rollout plans, specifically Wednesday nights. So hold on just a second.
As Jake mentioned, we think it is going to be a home run. And that is very much pun intended. So we're excited. We're excited to reveal you this idea of what we're calling home base. What our home bases will be, it'll be 6 groups every Wednesday night, meeting around Canadian at 6:30. And those groups will be broken up, and I'll speak to where I get to work with would be our student ministry. And so we're going to have a junior high group. So if you're in 7th and 8th grade, you would have a house that you go to and meet at 6:30. There'd be a teacher there, and it doesn't necessarily the host house. It's just they're providing a place. So that 7th, 8th grade would be at one house, and then our freshmen and sophomores would be at another house, and then finally our juniors and seniors would be at a house. 6:30 to 7:30-ish on Wednesday nights is what we're calling our home base. And looks pretty similar for you too, right?
Yeah, so we're going to do ours toddler through 6th grade. So 3, 4, and 5 are all going to be in a group. We're going to have kindergarten through 3rd grade in a group, and 4th, 5th, and 6th grade in a group. And like Barry said, our home bases, we are going to go out into the community. We're going to have these groups of our kids learning the Bible together. And Wednesday nights at 6:30, parents, you'll drop your kids off. Although I'm going to encourage you to stay. I would love it if our parents would just stay and get to know other parents and get to know other kids. That is so important to network like that. It just does amazing things in lives of kids whenever their parents know other parents that are also trying to build faith at home. If you want to volunteer your house, that's all you have to do. If you're like, I'm okay with you using my backyard, but I don't really want to teach it, you don't have to. You just need a yard. So if you're interested in that, please call up here. Barry and I both would love to know those things.
And same for parents of our teenagers. If you're like, well, my kid doesn't want me there. They don't know it, but they really do. They really would love to share. And you imagine listening to your child talk about deeper things of faith and getting to hear that. That's going to make those home discussions that we talked about earlier, it's going to be way easier because you can go home and you're fully loaded. Like, wow, what you said tonight even struck me. So it's an exciting time, and we've probably been headed this direction for years. It's just been helped out. We know that we need more and more parent involvement. We know that we need that buy-in where, yes, we love living in Canadian. Yes, we love being active in sports and other extracurricular activities. But, man, when parents see that building faith and instilling faith is the top and the most important thing in their life, it really begins to shape everything else. Everything else flows out of that center that is focused completely on Jesus. And so this is one of those ways that we really think it's going to empower a lot of different people being active in all parts of our ministries, children's and student. And this involves everybody. Even if you don't have a child, you're like, I can stand children, I can stand teens. You're very welcome to come and spend time with us. And just, man, we just want to partner with you.
Or if you are used to teaching Sunday mornings or Wednesday nights and you're like, oh, I really miss my kids, there's still space for you to come and teach. It's just going to be outdoors in a safer environment.
Whether that's front yard or backyard, it doesn't really matter. We're just excited to have a place where our groups can get together and we just call it a home base because just connect. That's really what it's always been about. So we're thankful to get to share, and that's something we've been super excited to kind of reveal to y'all. So we're thankful that you've joined us for that. And I guess with that, we just want to say a big thanks to. And if you're a parent, you've been navigating through the last few months, thank you. If you're a grandparent, you've been trying to figure out how to help out your family. If you're just anybody who thinks about children and knows that God loves them deeply, whether teen or a little child, it doesn't matter, that God wants them, God desires them, God wants to build faith in them. If you're any of that, if you fit any of that description, we just wanted to thank you tonight. From like the bottom of, I don't know where that is, but the bottom of our hearts, we just wanted to say that we greatly appreciate you. And if you happen at any time in the next hour or months when you come across this webinar, if you're confused, go ahead and call us.
Or if you have questions like, I don't really understand that, text us or come see us. We would love to visit with you no matter what platform that is on. We want you guys to know that we are always here for you. Always.
Anything that the last half a year has taught us is that we miss people. That we were created for relationship. Even if you're an introverted person, like even you now see the need. Like, wow, God has created us for body. I mean, we heard Paul talk about in Corinthians, that we're all part of one. That longing inside of us to do what we can to help encourage the other. We've all got to play our part. We've all got to do that. So we just want to say tonight, and this is our big thing, that we just want to partner with you. We want to partner with you to build faith at home. And Jake said it so well earlier, as he says oftentimes, the good stuff. We just want you to know that we are all in this together. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Thanks for being here.
I appreciate you.